When people use these scare tactics to keep others from studying or learning or exploring, I, I I really take issue with that, and that's why we're losing people. That's why people are leaving the Christian faith. Or just straight up ad hominem, right? If we're going to use a
Oh, it
technical
is.
term.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so the term semi-Pelagian wasn't around in the 5th century. The Gallic monks would have absolutely rejected this, identifying with this label. All three of them explicitly condemn Pelagius. All right, some calling them even in traditional terms, like, sometimes the church fathers used
Harsh
very
language. Yeah.
bombastic language. So they do this with Pelagius. So the term semi-Pelagian, getting to your point, Leighton, about how you see this with Calvinists. Now, granted, not all Calvinists are like this, but you do with some of the leading representatives, you do see this from time to time. Well, guess what? The first person to use the term semi-Pelagian was none other than Theodore Beza, the first disciple, one of the first disciples of John Calvin. So
yeah, when it 1577
it
around
was
there,
in
or something like
the
that.
Jesuit controversies. So
Oh my,
little
yeah.
later, yeah.
Just
But
a little later.
but when you said earlier in our discussion here that you see this in the Reformed tradition, I couldn't help but smile because it goes all the way back to Beza with regard to the term semi-Pelagian.
Yeah, and obviously Beza's goal in saying semi-Pelagianism is like saying semi-Nazism in our world,
Yeah.
or semi-Hitlerism, or something
Yeah.
like that, because you've already got the established boogeyman, regardless of whether Pelagius really taught the things he was accused of teaching. That's a whole nother discussion. What Pelagianism has become to be known, everybody sees it as a toxic waste dump of, hey, we don't want to go anywhere there, because after all, that's basically saying we're purely humanistic and we don't even need God. Deism could be fine. God could go take a vacation and we'd be all okay, because after all, we're just all self-reliant here kind of folks. I mean, that's the extremist version of the way it's painted. And nobody, and as Dr. Bonner pointed out, it's an accusation of pride. It's basically saying you're trying to take credit for something that's not due to you. Obviously, that is a big old bully stick. You can arrogance and pride. If I can just condemn you as being arrogant and prideful because you're claiming something that actually God effectually causes, then I can use that boogeyman battering ram on you all day long without getting into any kind of nuance of
It's a
the
scare
distinctions.
tactic, and we shouldn't be afraid of the truth. We shouldn't be afraid to learn of other positions, even if we ultimately disagree with them. But when people use these scare tactics to keep others from studying or learning or exploring, I really take issue with that, and that's why we're losing people. That's why people are leaving the Christian faith. I mean, part of what I do in my apologetics ministry, through my Veracity Hill ministry, is I host a multi-view conference, and so I have different views, some which I really disagree with. So this last conference we did in March was on hell, and I even had a universalist. I'm not a universalist, but I had a universalist come and defend the position, because we should not be scared of these things. But when the Christian church plays the boogeyman card in a number of arenas, then we don't talk about the issues on the minds of youth. We don't talk about sexual ethics. And in fact, the Christian church is full of hypocrites. Okay.
Yeah.
When was the last time, again, Leighton, I don't know your personal background, your work situation all that much, but when was the last time a Christian pastor taught on divorce and remarriage? We are full of hypocrites in the Christian church, and that's why we're losing people. All right, I'll get off my soapbox here on apologetics, but the point is, when we use scare tactics, we don't talk about the issues that people are thinking about. We don't talk about issues that we should be talking about, and we just need to be real with people and let them explore these different positions. I would far and away have someone reject the historical Adam if they are following Jesus. Now, that's not my own view, but I would far and away prefer someone say, yeah, Adam didn't really exist. But you know what? I'm reading my scriptures on a weekly, maybe even daily basis. I'm, walking with Jesus. To me, that is way better the orthopraxy far trumps the orthodoxy on that issue.
Yeah.